Dante.
Yes.
I'm trying to make it sound like we haven't seen each other in a while, but I just saw you earlier today. Thanks for having me over to WMCAT to talk with your students about what we're doing right now.
Yeah, it was beautiful. So I teach a podcasting class for WMCAT, West Michigan Center for Arts and Technology. And Chris came over and gave the kids some pointers on proper interview techniques.
Yeah.
And he's about to put them into effect right now.
Yeah, so if you kids are listening, this is how you do it, all right?
Welcome to Creative Ops, a podcast for creative people.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the first episode of Creative Ops of 2024. This time, I wanted to start off here because my friend Dante Cope, who you might remember from episode 84, Dante Cope Does Everything, is still doing everything and even a little bit more now. He is opening Grammotones at 120 South Division in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and the grand opening is tomorrow, Friday, February 16th at 11 a.m. with the after party in the evening. You got to come out to this. This is going to be amazing. There's going to be music, there's going to be gift bags, and there's going to be really cool clothing and music and just a great atmosphere. So Dante and I talked about all the things that went into putting Grammotones together, from an idea that started almost a decade ago up until it actually opening just this week. I'm really excited for this. We mention a lot of other musicians and artists and people that helped put this together, and all of them will be in the show notes. So if you hear a name and you're like, oh, that guy sounds interesting, that girl sounds interesting, it's in the show notes. Thank you to everyone who made this possible. Thank you to everyone who gets a shout out here. And thank you especially to Dante Cope for inviting me into Grammotones for this interview, and also bringing me into his classroom at the West Michigan Center for Art and Technologies and letting me talk to students about podcasting. Yeah, I got nothing else to say, guys. Let's get into this one. I am really excited, and I'll see you on the other side. All right, man, we're here in Grammotones, which tell the people what Grammotones is.
So Grammotones is a creative retail space. We're an upcycled clothing shop, and we screen print some of our own like branded Grammotones merch. And that's the core of it. We also double as like creative music venue. So I'm a musician. Music is a big part of just my art, and fashion and music have been merged together for years. It's like, you know, Michael Jackson with the red zip up jacket.
Yeah, and even more so, I feel like when we were younger, you could look at how somebody dressed and have a pretty good guess at what kind of music they listen to.
Yes. So we're kind of bringing that vibe to this shop. So it's music based, but it's about fashion, and we're treating the shop like a record store. So we have like our normal like clothes that we have, our branded stuff, things that like you would find sort of thrifting, but some really nice stuff too.
Yeah, some really nice stuff. I mean, we were going through it the other day, and you're like, this was $300 off the rack. It's $75 here. So yeah.
And then we're going to have a dollar bin. So it's going to be like a $3 bin, but how record stores have like that dollar bin of, you know, Conway Twitty or Conrad Twitty records or whatever you'll find in there. Loverboy. We're going to have that with clothes. So like some thrifted stuff. So if you're on the cheaper end, you want something to style with, we'll have a bin for you to kind of go through and just be like, some of the stuff could be gold, some of the stuff could be, whatever. Even like some of the Grammotones merch, like misprints, things like that will be there. So you can do that.
That's awesome. So take me back to when you first had the concept for this, because I remember before you were in this space, you were telling me all the things that this was going to be. How long has this idea been bubbling up in your head?
It's been years. It's been like 7 years. The idea kind of changed over time. So originally, I wanted to just open a music venue with merch. Now it's more merch with a music venue as like the cherry on top.
Yeah.
But it's been bubbling for a really long time. I've always just, the city of Grand Rapids itself doesn't really have like a fashion district or like a fashion sense.
Yeah.
It's just very like, you wear your Carhartts and you wear your Timbs and that's it.
Yeah.
Working class.
Our mutual friend Mike is always complaining that everyone in this town just wears beige.
Yeah, it's all beige. And that's fine. Like beige is fine.
Bruh.
Not really. But
yeah, you got to color out, man. Match the season.
Yeah, you have to just put some personality behind like what you're wearing, what's on your clothes, what's the stuff that's on your clothes. If everybody dresses the same, nobody knows who you are.
Yeah. And I feel like we have gotten away from that in the last, I don't know how many, 10, 20 years, where now you look at somebody and you're like, what kind of music do you like? And you would honestly not be surprised if they said country or if they said like hardcore death metal or rap. It's just like everybody kind of has assimilated into these just like bigger like mall style trends, I guess.
I'm going to put one of my homies on blast right now. Sir Manley, don't hate me for this, but like Sir Manley, like, I mean, his image, I love it because he just looks like some like unassuming white guy, but he's like one of the dopest rappers, producers out here. But it's that, like the style, the clothes you wear, the things like that. He looks like he'll sell you a car, but he's also one of the best hip hop artists out here. So shout out to Sir Manley. Just giving Grand Rapids a little bit of flavor.
When did you you said it's been about 7 years with this idea. When did you start taking the steps and looking for places, and how did finding this spot originally all kind of come together?
So I've actually been like walking by this spot all the time. I was an artist in resident for Dwelling Place, and in doing so, I was always in this area. And this place was vacant for a really long time, and I'm just like, what's the issue? Why isn't there somebody in this spot? And then shout out to, I have like some friends in the city and things like that. So shout out to Richard App for like kind of putting the plug in the back. And he was like, well, Grand Rapids has this grant program. We can fast track you if you're trying to get like a retail space and you want to do this for real. And we've had conversations about this. And so I had like a timeline where it was like 2026, 27 that I would do this and have this. So we kind of pushed it forward. And
how long ago was it that you were like, oh, we can actually start doing this like now? Was it just like in the last couple of months last year, or?
It was like probably the last year and a half.
Okay.
So I was still at Dwelling Place as an artist in resident.
Putting on the Things to Do Thursday, which we talked about the last time, and that's how you and I really get to know each other.
Yeah. And in doing so, like the Thing to Do Thursday was amazing because I met so many people and got to like interact with so many people from different areas, not just the Hartside area, Grand Rapids, but like people that work downtown, that don't necessarily live here, that want to see this area prosper.
Yeah.
And as like, you're in this space, you're meeting a bunch of people, you guys are like trading ideas back and forth, talking about just like your plans for the future. This kind of was always like hitting, and it was just hitting and like reverberating with people. Mm-hmm. So they were just like, oh, you should do that. Like, you sound passionate about it. Because I'm like the type of person that does a bunch of different things all at the same time.
Yeah.
Like I'm into film, I'm into definitely music.
Well, the last episode that you were on, I titled it Dante Cope Does Everything.
Yeah, I'm into 3D art and animation, like augmented reality. I do it all. And this shop itself is actually kind of a hub for all of that.
Yeah.
So the shop,
as we are right now sitting right in the middle of the studio space.
yes. So the retail space is like half of the space here. And the retail space is going to be open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 11 to 6 p.m. The rest of the week is studio space. So I have like Monday and Tuesday will be studio space for music. Sunday, studio space for like app making and the augmented reality things I've been putting together. So I compartmentalize a lot of stuff in my life. So like the days of the week I kind of compartmentalize, where it's like Sundays are like coding day / inventory for the shop day.
Yeah.
All the computer stuff.
Yeah. And just this week, every day has been loading up inventory. And
yeah, every day this week has been.
We could get interrupted any moment with some people bringing in more stuff.
Yeah. So another thing with the shop, I'm partnered with a ton of like local designers, local jewelry makers. This is not just like my idea. It's a community shop. Like
Yeah.
I want people to be able to make money here, sell and create the culture, and then also just hang out here and have fun.
Yeah.
Do the things. There's some listening stations, like if you want to listen to some vinyl while like you're shopping for clothes. I really like retail spaces that are like dual purpose.
Yeah.
So there's this
Because
shop.
they make everything. I remember telling the students not to interrupt guests, and here I am doing it. But a lot of places have kind of moved into this model of like, get them in and out as fast as you can.
Yeah. And there's a shop in Chicago we went to. It's called Fret 12. It's in like the Morton Salt building. It's like a music venue that they turned a factory into a music venue. But the shop, they sell like screen printed shirts, mainly like music based, guitar based. When we went to the shop, there was like, they had amps and you could play the guitars and you can sit there, and they had like a room where you could do that. I thought that was cool, where it's like, yeah, you could buy shirts, you buy merch, you can do all of that stuff, but also like you can hang out here and
It feels like
jam.
your friend's house. Yeah.
Yeah. I want that vibe for this space.
Yeah.
Disclaimer, there are no instruments out that you can play. I'm in Grammotones, so we'll put that there now. But there are like there's a listening station. You can listen to records. Everything about this shop is just vibes. Like we wanted to feel like you're in your chic grandmother's house. So there's like between the smells, the rugs on the floor, it's like hip grandmother style. It's modeled after my late grandmother. Peace to Grandma Cat. But when she lived in Chicago, we would come to her house, and there was like a lot of like dark woods. There was like silver. She had a lot of fur stuff, fur coats, things like that. I wanted to keep that vibe here.
Yeah.
And that's like what the shop was kind of modeled after. It's called Grammotones for that.
Yeah.
My grandma would also take me to, it was like Gramophone Records, I think it was in Chicago. At the time, it was like a record store that has since closed down.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we would go to this record store. I was too young at the time to like appreciate music like that. So,
Right.
But I just had fun in the record store. Like you can go out. They had like other stuff going on. They had like one of the little horse rides.
Yeah.
And that's like core memory for me.
Right.
There are no horse rides at Grammotones.
At least not yet. Not
Not yet.
as of this time.
I know Meyer had, what's the Meyer horse's name?
Sandy. Yeah.
If
I
Meyer,
remember they had Sandy on hostage during the COVID.
yes,
epidemic.
if Meyer wants to donate Sandy to Grammotones, we can put a Sandy in Grammotones. But until then, there's no coin,
horsies.
no coin operated animals in this shop.
So We did touch on the name a little bit, and that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about before we get too much deeper into anything else. Obviously, you said it's inspired by your grandma, but you had told me that it's kind of got a dual purpose, the name.
Yes. So like Grammotones, Grand Rapids, just the tones in general. This is music, so that's like me. That's like putting myself into that name.
Yeah.
Also, Grand Rapids is called Gunru, so GR ammo is that. So it's like a triple entendre. The way I write music is just like all double entendres or triple entendres. So it's everything has a double meaning.
Yeah.
So the name has a double meaning.
Everyone else is out there playing checkers. He's playing 3D chess.
So Dave has a triple meaning. So this is like in the shop has like a triple meaning. It's like fashion, community building, music. It's all of that, retail. The main thing is just like building a culture of, and I've noticed this, especially like doing music in the city for a really long time. There's a culture of commerce built around the music scene. It's a culture of like, you go up to the show, you show up to the shows, you pay cover, you may buy merch. Like it's like 10% of the people may buy merch. I want to develop the culture where people are buying merch not just because they support the band, because the clothes look cool and the clothes look good.
Yeah. It's not just some crappy screen printed thing that somebody ironed on and it's going to come off after 2 washes. Yeah.
Yeah. This is like developing the culture of like, I have some shirts, like I wear band shirts a lot, like LILEL. It's a band from, they're from LA, but the lead singer's from Kalamazoo.
Oh, cool.
And like, I bought the shirt because it looks cool, not because I do like the band. The band is great. Yeah. But the shirt I wear just wherever. Earth Radio, shout out to them. They're local here. They have really dope shirts. Really, really dope shirts. I need to get some of their shirts in the shop. So if you're listening, Earth Radio,
hook it up.
But that is a part of the culture. I want to have, bands. If you want to put your shirts in the shop, hit me up.
I'm going to come back to the shop specifically, but I think it's kind of important to talk about because after having gotten to know the people that are over there at 106, the folks up the street here at Cocoon, Art Rat, GR Noir, Division Avenue in Grand Rapids is a street that the first time I heard of it over a decade ago, people would say, oh, you want to go over to Division Avenue and pick up some hookers? And so it was really kind of a spot that a lot of people kind of ignored, and the city and everyone else really wasn't investing in it, and it showed. But now, just on the drive over here from the other side of town, I was like, man, there's, now it's really kind of further and few in between the number of shops that are sitting empty. And there's lots of vibrant displays and local people really kind of banding together and saying like, no, we're going to, the city tried and they, for one reason or another, weren't really able to invest here, but it's become like a very grassroots thing here.
So I'm going to answer this question in a really long way. So I got my start in music on Division right here. When I first moved to Grand Rapids, like I was doing shows at Grand Valley, but I wasn't really in the music scene here, and I couldn't really book stuff here just because nobody knew who I was. They were like, who's this dude, Dante Cope? You don't know who the fuck he is. So I started renting places, and one of the cheapest places to rent at the time was the DAC. It was right here on Division, and we would just throw shows here. We threw like really, really, like some really, really artsy shows. Sometimes it was just a party. They allowed us to do whatever we wanted with the space, like as far as setup.
Yeah.
But during that time, I think Avenue of the Arts was like really popping, and there were always like artist markets of just like people having tents outside on Division.
Yeah, and they still do the third Thursdays around here.
Yeah. And so we were like, I came up in part of that, And then after a while, that kind of just died off.
Why? What did you see like a reason for that?
Well, it was like, I mean, if I be frank, some people bought buildings and kicked people out.
Okay, so like some people started playing gatekeeper.
Yeah, so the DAC like got kicked out of their space. Skeletones had left. Skeletones is back now in their original location. Shout out to them because they've been supporting the shop as well.
Yeah. I remember when they first shut down, everybody that was even a little bit into local music was just crushed.
Yeah, because they were like in the music scene, like there's the big venues, you got the Pyramid Scheme, you got like Billy's, you got like
Intersection,
all of that. But for up and coming artists, you need those smaller venues to get like your feet wet.
Yeah.
You can't rock the Intersection if you haven't like had a few shows under your belt.
Yeah.
And places like Skeletones, the DAC, they were there for that purpose. The music scene kind of lost that during that time. And so we were like, as I started doing more stuff around the city, and like fast forward years later, I'm the artist in resident at Dwelling Place and I'm back on Division Street. I want to see that happen again. Like that era where all these shops, there was like the ice cream gallery, there was like the scavenger hunt and all those types of shops were around. And I saw that all these shops start popping up here over like the past year and a half, 2 years, like Atono, Second Vibes, Zabas. Like we have all these shops, but the culture wasn't really there as far as like the music. Skeletones is still there, so that like that's going.
Yeah.
And especially like this side of Division. So I'm on like the east side of Division. So the west side of Division, you have GR Noir, you have a lot of shops, restaurants, things like that. East side, it's a little harder. People don't normally walk up and down that strip as much.
Yeah.
And like Zabas is kind of on the south end, and you have Art Rat kind of on the north end, but nothing else in between. We want to try to fill that gap.
Yeah. And I think it's great, man. This part of town really is ready for a comeback. And I know, the city has made its attempts at it, and for whatever reason, those had varying degrees of failure. But
I will shout out to the city because they have been pushing like a lot of the vibrancy you see in these shops, like the windows and things like that. They have the window activation grant. So they've been pushing for downtown businesses to like, change up and that window activation grant is, I think, quarterly. So like every season you can change up the look of your shop, your space.
That's cool.
So like the city is investing in this area now, and that's beautiful. That's
good to hear. 'Cause from somebody who, obviously I don't own a business around here. I just know a few people that do. It's good to hear that is the case. 'Cause, when you see a place that has struggled for a while, you can't help but wonder, like, why didn't somebody step in sooner to stop it from getting as bad as it was, or to really try to course correct it? But
yeah. And like a lot of, especially like small businesses, mom and pop businesses, like this one is, like we live and die by, the people walking down the street. Like if people feel the street is unsafe, it's really hard to get people coming into your shop.
Yeah.
I think like creating cultural spaces makes people feel connected, and then connected to the people in that area on the street. And that makes everybody feel safer. You feel unsafe. People feel unsafe with the unknown. If you actually talk to people and get to know people, then like that barrier gets broken down.
Yeah. And that seems like something that in the past has kind of been your specialty with the, I don't know what and all the events that happened at 106 that brought people together.
Yeah. And that's the main goal. So it's like creative community building. And I realize people live and like connect with people on their same like class level, economic level, whatever. And they don't really venture out of that. You can venture out of that by, finding the things that connect you, like music. People, love music. if you like a genre, somebody else could like the same genre, and you guys connect and talk about that. And then when you're in those spaces, you're in a music venue, there's people from all different walks of life. It's like, how do you use that sort of communal aspect to bring people together to have these conversations? And in this retail space here, it's like, oh yeah, you could sit here and shop and, you know, buy clothes, do that. But are you talking to the other people that are buying these clothes? Like, is there, are you meeting new people because you guys have the same style? Are you coming to the shop to buy clothes? And then where are you wearing those clothes? Like, are you wearing them out to shows?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to do events. The events aren't going to be long. We're doing like hour-long sets. So it'll be Friday and Saturday night.
So you're going to have a host, a local opener, and then a...
No openers, just one act. There'll be music. It's more of a feature. So like, and we did some test runs of this with Babatunde. He came, this was like last December, November, December. He came and did a 3-day, that format of like having him perform multiple days. So he performed a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Not doing anything on Sunday, but that Friday, Saturday, the goal is to have whatever acts we book do both days, Friday, Saturday. Hour-long set. You do your set. We're recording everything. So there'll be a recording of, so like I'm a recording engineer. I do that.
Yeah.
I've been doing that since college to make money. And so we record the sets. Everything in the space is kind of hardwired. So it's just like you come in, you perform your set. You have that recording. We're going to sell those recordings at the shop as well. And further down the line, this isn't going to happen right away. But Great Lakes Records is a company. They press up 45s. So like the best songs from those sets, we're going to press up on 45s and sell them at the shop.
That's awesome.
So if you're local and you want to get like your music on a 45, come perform at Grammotones. We're going to keep all those recordings and like pick the best songs and put them out.
So do you have a group of people, musicians, that you're actively seeking to work with? Are you going to let people come to you and pitch themselves, or?
Yeah, a little bit of both. I have like some people I've reached out to already. And I've also like, not just local.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to keep it mainly local, but I also have like national act friends, people that I know, talent buyers that I know just through the music industry for years that can, you know, come down here and do stuff like if they're on tour.
Mm-hmm.
And just setting up that culture where they know like when they come and perform at this space, it's not necessarily about like, hey, this is a live performance. I really like don't like how like staged live performances are, because it's more of a showcase. It's like you're disconnected from the crowd. You're disconnected from the people. And I think we've talked about this before in the last episode. I like to do, or last episode we did together. Yeah. But I like to do spaces where like there isn't that disconnect between the crowd and the performer.
Mm-hmm.
And just getting creative with how you do that. Like even like, so like I'm in a band, Les Creatifs. It was one of our last few shows. We did a show at Rockies like before they closed. Rest in peace, Rockies. Where, you know, it's a small space and we were actually like a bigger band. We were like a 6-piece.
Yeah.
And it's like, do we all want to crowd in this little corner, or well, how about we just spread out across the entire venue?
Yeah.
And, you know, have wireless everything, wireless mics, wireless, you know, pickups for the guitar and the amps and all of that.
Yeah. You got your electric sax.
The electric sax. So yeah. I'm just like, you can play on the bar if you want to. Having that feel. Because I think music has been like, and this is like, this is just philosophy I have, like music got so big so quickly, like with the internet and with the, you know, after Woodstock till now, where like everything has to be a stadium and you're
yeah.
striving to perform at these large spaces to get as many people into a space where nobody can really enjoy the show because you're like, all, in a sardine can.
Yeah.
Trying to watch a little ant on stage. And
Right,
it's
right.
like, why don't we bring the artists closer to the people?
Yeah.
And that's one of the goals.
So any bands, local or otherwise, that do like what they're hearing right now, can they walk into the shop when it's open, or hit you up on an email or something like that?
They can walk into the shop. They can send an email to the shop. It's info@grammotonesmusic.com. That's info at Grammotones, GRAMMOTONES music. You should know how to spell music. .com. You should know how to spell com too. But yeah, you can send us an email. You can come into the shop. I would hope you just come into the shop just like because it's cool. You want to hang out.
Yeah.
And there's good music, and then there's clothes that you can wear at your shows that you can look fresh in. All of that.
And you've got a couple of local brands, because like you said, some of the things in here are like a secondhand, like thrifted type clothes.
Yep.
But then there's also a couple brands of
there's some
original new clothing.
Yeah, so there's like Wasted brand that's started here, and they're like everywhere now. Like they've been doing stuff in New York and wherever.
Yeah.
But David, who runs that, like he has a shop here as well in Grand Rapids, so you should go to his shop too. But yeah, they have clothing here in the shop. Art for Food. So she knits everything.
That stuff was so cool looking.
It's everything. It's like halter tops to like crop top sweaters,
mini skirts.
All of that's at the shop. Come check it out. Green Mitten. I've reached out to like more people that have brands, and they just like they're dropping stuff here off up until the grand opening. That's why I've been like, we talked about that early in the episode. I've just been busy here. I mean, even during this interview, somebody could stop in and drop off some stuff. But that is it's exciting because like we're showcasing a lot of local just fashion artists.
Yeah.
Like these are artists. They're creating something with textiles, not only for you to wear, but like all of this stuff is beautiful. Like all of the knit stuff, just like the colors, all of that's just beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, this place has really come together. And I also want to shout out to George. What's George's last name?
Eberhardt the Third.
George Eberhardt the Third.
Yes.
If you come in here, when you walk in the door and take a look to the right on the wall, there is just a beautiful mural that's, I think you said it's still a little bit in process, but it's just amazing. This gorgeous mural of three people in different poses, playing music, listening to music, and this beautiful woman with an afro just being a goddess in the middle.
Yeah, it's George is, I mean, he's my favorite muralist in the city. One of my favorite artists, just like of all time. But he came with this concept of what he wanted for this wall. I was like, hey, there's this huge wall. It's like pretty big. It's 20 feet by like 14 feet high or something like that.
It's most of that wall, and this is a high ceilinged building.
Yes. And he had this idea, and it turned out amazing.
Yeah.
So shout out to George.
Whose work you can also see up and down Division Avenue. Yeah.
Actually just left of our building. He did the mural for the Negro League baseball players, which is also in that area. He has a ton of murals. I'm pretty sure he has probably the most murals around town at this point.
Not that anybody's counting, but way to go, George.
Yeah. But he's been doing it for years. Like, not only here, but also in North Carolina. So he has murals there too, as well. So shout out to George. Also, George works at WMCAT with me. So shout out to WMCAT as well.
Yeah. Is there anybody else, since we're kind of hitting the shout outs right now, whose stuff is in the store or who was kind of instrumental in helping you bring this to life?
they don't actually have stuff in the store, but Trav, he's actually here right now.
Hi, Travis.
Trav has been instrumental in like just helping with everything, all the small details.
Shout out to Travis. What's your last name?
Treadway.
Travis Treadway, the man.
I mean, he was helping me hang lights earlier. We had to install new lights. I'm still trying to figure out this app. They're all smart lights. I'm not smarter than the smart lights.
Too smart.
But I gotta like code them all to be in the zones that I want them to be in.
Yeah.
Just he has actually stuff in the shop too. He has some shoes and some other stuff.
Nice.
So like a lot of the
wait, were those his shoes? Those ones that we were looking at earlier? Those crazy Nikes?
Yes.
Oh damn! I can't believe you wanted to get rid of those, Travis.
There's also like Adrian Butler. He's actually DJing the ribbon cutting grand opening.
Don't get too much into that because I want to save that towards the end. Like, let everybody know what's going to happen on that day.
Yeah. But Adrian, he has this. It's not a brand, but it's like his. It's called My Brother's Closet. So it's a lot of thrifted stuff or like just fashion stuff that he's bought or like has found.
And anybody who knows Adrian Butler, otherwise known as AB,
he's the most stylish man in Grand Rapids.
Yeah. And he's basically the DJ in Grand Rapids. Anytime there's a big event somewhere, some schnazzy adult prom or a social networking event at the Grand Rapids Museum, he's the dude who's putting the music to it. So AB will be the one here making the music. I guess we're close enough to the end that let's start talking about that. And you know what? Actually, I'm going to drop this on Thursday so people can hear it and then have time to actually react to it. So for the people that are listening to this on the day that it drops and they're like, yeah, this sounds good, tell everybody what time they should be here and what they can expect when they get here.
So the shop opens Friday, February 16th at 11 a.m. And we're going to do a ribbon cutting. So we're going to do official ribbon cutting. We're going to have the huge scissors and the big ribbon. And
you actually found a big pair of scissors?
Yeah. So actually, just so people know the process, the Grand Rapids Chamber has that. Okay. And they do that for like, all you have to do is like talk to them, either become a member or
Chamber of Commerce.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they will, they have a bunch of services that they do outside of just ribbon cutting, but they'll have the big scissors and the big bow and do the whole ribbon cutting thing. All the pictures.
They probably got big checks in the back too for people that need those and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
They have all the oversized props.
If you want to join the Illuminati, that's who you. This is it. No, but yeah, they'll do all of that. So that we have that. There's going to be some speeches, short speeches. I'm not one to talk. I mean, I'm talking really long on this episode, but there'll be some speeches from like Richard App, Melvin from DGRI, commissioners,
which is the Downtown Grand Rapids Incorporated. For the folks that don't know, they're an organization that helps promote things that are going on. Do they put things on themselves, or are they more just kind of like
They do that too. They put things on themselves, like World of Winter.
That's right. How could I forget about the World of Winter?
Yeah,
you've got stuff in the World of Winter too. You want to talk about your World of Winter stuff real quick?
Yeah. So in World of Winter, I have augmented reality installation. It's in 4 locations: in front of the Van Andel Arena, in front of DeVos Place, behind DeVos Place, like on the Riverwalk, and then Rosa Parks Circle. And it's called Ghost Town 2.0 because we did Ghost Town last year. But Ghost Town 2.0 is different from last year. Last year we had this augmented reality music performances in the storefronts. This year, since they're out in the open, they're single artists, solo, featuring 4 artists. So there's Jade, who's part of Art Sauce Quartet, who is also going to perform at the grand opening. Nice. I'll explain that later. LILEL, he's from
Dowagiac.
Yes. I murdered that
I couldn't
name.
believe it when I heard it. I was like, really?
Yeah.
And this dude, for anybody that doesn't know, I really like what this dude's doing, because he's the kind of guy that even if two people were half paying attention to him, he would still be like doing backflips, doing the worms, sweating, putting everything into it. He's that guy.
He's a performer. And like a lot of artists can't perform. Like they make great music but can't perform it. He makes great music and performs.
Yeah.
And shout out to L, because like we just dropped the EP together.
The Library.
Yes, that I produced that song. That song is also in the World of Winter installation. So you can see that song, you can see him perform it, even though he's not here. He's in Dowagiac. And then there's I have a performance.
Yeah. I remember seeing that silky smooth looking virtual reality that you've been working on and posting on social media.
And then Sarah Ann is she's a poet, so she also has a poem in the World of Winter. And so you can virtually see all 4 of those performances in our app. I created an app for this. It's called the Ghost Town World of Winter Ghost Town 2 app. You can download it from the Apple Store, the App Store. It's iPhone only. If you have an Android, I actually have an Android. This is funny that I made an iPhone app and I don't even have an iPhone. But you can view that, view our installation. And there's the installation, there's these boxes, they're lit up. There's a little bit of music around it. And there's artwork around the boxes that are done by Anthony Carpenter, I said George was like one of my favorite artists. Anthony Carpenter, there's 2. It's George and Anthony Carpenter. Anthony Carpenter is like he is the best illustrator in town. He can do anything. He's like, we talked about the Thing to Do Thursday.
Yeah.
All of those monthly schedules were in the flyers were done by Anthony Carpenter.
Those were so cool too.
Yeah.
I love those.
So whenever I have a project, that's the first person I'm calling. If I need some illustrations or some flyers or some things like that, original artwork. Yeah. That's the guy.
I remember the first time that I hosted an event there when you gave me the space to do that. I made a flyer, and the whole time I was just like, man, this is not nearly as cool as the flyers that they've been putting out.
No, like Anthony, he hand illustrates all of those. I would say like on his iPad, but hand illustrates all of those. Yeah, yes. Yeah. So it's he's wonderful. And so a lot of the art and installations that I do is collaborative. So I'm working with Anthony Carpenter. I'm working with George. George also helped with the World of Winter. He actually didn't make any art for it, but he helped with the installation and things like that. And then shout out to Brian Molek, who also helped with the World of Winter installation. He's a carpenter. He built the boxes. There's signs on the boxes that say like, do not stand on these boxes. Yeah. But they're strong enough that you can stand and jump on them, do backflips off of them.
If you've never done a backflip, we don't recommend you trying it for the first time there.
No. So we don't want you doing that, because if you hurt yourself, the city of Grand Rapids has to pay. No. Just no backflips off of these boxes.
Yeah, be safe. Be safe, be smart.
No kick flips, no nothing. I know there's no snow on the ground. This is supposed to be for World of Winter, and like we had the worst winter technically.
Dude, that was so weird. All of a sudden we had like 2 blizzards, and then it all melts, and it was like 50 degrees for 3 days, 60 degrees one day.
Yeah.
Now it's back down to 32, but no snow.
Yeah. So don't do anything off of those.
Off to Chris with the weather.
But yeah, World of Winter was fun. Like, if you haven't checked out World of Winter in Grand Rapids, there's all sorts of things to like do. I know on the pedestrian bridge, there's just like warp tunnel.
Yeah,
for
the warp tunnel
lights
was cool. I saw that
and
one.
music. There's these huge frogs along the river.
And that doesn't do it justice. There are these gigantic, inflatable, lit up frogs, and they all are realistic looking. You can get a look and see like what kind of frog it is. You push a button, it
You can hear
shows you
it.
what noise it makes.
Yeah, it's all immersive. There's stuff going up and down Monroe, like Monroe North, over by like 555 Monroe. There's a ton of stuff through that park, Riverside Park.
And then the ice skating at Rosa Parks Circle, which I took the kids to the other day, and they loved it.
Yeah, I actually ice skated there for the first time.
Yeah, how'd you do
this year? I did great.
You didn't bust your ass?
I fell once, and that's because this like lady was like, "I want to see a 6'4" black man fall down."
And then she tripped him.
Yeah, I blame karma on this lady, this random lady. But no, I used to ice skate like back in the day, in Jackson.
Yeah. We're from Michigan. Everybody's been on ice at least once, even if they didn't have skates on.
Yeah. Everybody's fell at least once.
Everybody slipped and busted their
At least once every winter. Like there could just be random ice on the ground.
Yeah.
You miss a step and you're down. But like, yeah, World of Winter Festival. We have an augmented reality installation, and that was really fun to actually put together. I actually learned a lot. So like the first year I did this augmented reality installation, I didn't create the app. I had Ariane Adams from Carnivale put the app together. Shout out to Ariane. She still kind of helped with this one if I had questions as I was putting this app together. That was the first person I was calling.
Which, just from a creative standpoint, if you're a creative person, it's always good to have some kind of, even if it's not a mentor, just somebody that you can check in with and go, am I doing this right? What do you think of this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she sent me some code too. I actually didn't end up using it, but like, on how to do stuff.
Yeah.
And that's like,
learn by doing.
Yeah. But put the app together, coded it myself, put it out.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, but it's also like a learning process.
Yeah.
And I like to learn.
Yeah.
And so getting back to the Grammotones, like grand opening.
Yeah.
So we're doing the ribbon cutting. We have like Richard App. We have Melvin from Downtown, GRI. Drew Robbins, who's the commissioner from this area, is going to speak.
The county commissioner.
Yep. And then I am going to say a few words. And then AB, who we talked about earlier, who has like dope clothing in the shop, is going to DJ from 11 to 1. Come out. The first 50 people that buy stuff at the shop get a little swag bag. And then you also get free admission. We're having like an after party for the grand opening from 7 to 9. You get free admission into that.
Oh, hell yeah.
So buy something at the shop, come check it out, hang out, have fun, do all of that. The after party. So the shop closes at 6. It's going to be open 11 to 6, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We're doing an after party from 7 to 9 in the space. We're going to have some live performances from Art Sauce Quartet and then Lady Ace Boogie. You can check that out. If you haven't checked out those two artists, Art Sauce Quartet is like, so Jade, who is also in the World of Winter installation, is the singer for Art Sauce Quartet. Hugo Claudine, it's 4-piece sort of jazz band. They do some covers, like some cool covers, like Little Dragon, things like that. And then Lady Ace Boogie, it's hip hop with a live band. They're gonna have a drummer and a DJ.
Oh, hell yeah.
Come check it out. It's gonna be lit.
And if you do come, say hi to me because I'm going to be out here too.
Yes. We're gonna have like some snacks and some drinks. But it's just going to be a chill vibe to kind of hang out.
And good times will be had by all.
Yeah, celebrate the grand opening of the shop.
Yeah,
that's why we're here. The shop will also be open on Saturday. You can come in. We're kind of doing like this little pre-show to Sengo, who is performing at the intersection that Saturday. If you don't know who Sengo is, he's actually one of the dopest producers in the game. He produced for like Bryson Tiller, things like that. He has a Grammy.
Oh.
But he's from Grand Rapids. He's actually from Kentwood. He moved away and lives in Seattle, I think. But like he's from here. So he's doing a show here at the intersection. Come out.
And what is a Grammy? No, I'm just kidding.
It's like it's like a Grammy. It's like Grammotones. It's part of the name.
That's an award from the shop.
Yes, it's part of our triple entendre with the name.
Yeah.
It's just
Well, dude, this is awesome. Thank you for sharing the space with me now, and also for putting this energy out into the world, man. It needs it around here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. This is always wonderful.
Yeah. Welcome to the repeat guest club, by the way.
I know. This second time. This is the double entendre. This is the second meaning of Dante Cope does everything.
Dante Cope still does everything and more.
And more.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much. Everybody, thank you for listening. Check out Grammotones. All the links will be in the description. And God bless music and creativity. And thanks again, man, for this talk and for putting the space together. It's going to be great.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, everybody, that was it. I hope you go out and check out Grammotones, whether you're able to make it to the grand opening or not. It's downtown Grand Rapids, 120 South Division. Grammotones, a badly needed cultural space right here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. All right, love you guys. See you next time. I haven't given you one of these in a while. Get ready. Mwah!